honeybees are enjoying the water here.
What's up you guys, my name is Wahab and welcome to the second episode of beekeeping series and how to keep them. So you got your hives and you got 2 hives with 2 queens and you want to start beekeeping and you don't know how to take care of your bees. Well, today I'm gonna teach you the first thing that you should do to keep your bees, which is feeding them. I'm gonna talk about what do bees eat, and I'm gonna talk also about how to feed them and the techniques that I have learned throughout the years. So stay right there in your place and let's roll that intro. Welcome back you guys, and before I start talking about how to feed bees, we should know first of all, what do bees eat? So bees are just like us humans. They need a carbohydrate material to keep their energy, and they need a protein material to build their bodies. You should know that bees are not like us humans. We humans get born and then we grow into adults, while as bees they actually grow into adults and then they get born. So once they are born, they don't grow anymore, and therefore they don't need any protein material to grow. So bees feed on 2 main things. The first is nectar, secreted from the flowers and the trees, and the second material is pollen, which is the calyx of the trees and the flowers, and they use that to feed their larvae, as it is rich in protein. So bees in the animal kingdom are considered as prey, as they feed only on vegetables and they don't eat other kinds. So they are basically just peaceful farmers. So during the growing period of the bee, the adult bees feed her royal jelly and then switch her to bee bread, which is a mixture of pollen and nectar. They feed her for 21 days until she emerges as an adult bee. Adult bees feed on nectar and honey, and the queen feeds on royal jelly as well because she needs it to produce eggs. And that brings us to feeding. So if you don't interfere with the hive, if you don't take away its honey, the hive can pretty much manage itself and its resources independently. And in that case, you actually don't need to feed them. But we humans take away their honey, and that's why we need to compensate them and replace that honey with sugar and water syrup, so that they feed on it in the winter, because they can't fly in the winter because it's too cold. Now in beekeeping, there are 3 types of feeding. We have complementary feeding, we have heavy feeding, and we have emergency feeding. So complementary feeding simulates nectar, and it is used to encourage the bees to work and encourage the queen to lay more eggs and expand the colony. It consists of 1 kilogram of sugar mixed with 1 liter of water, so that's 1-to-1 ratio, and you mix these 2 on the stove until the sugar is completely gone. Heavy feeding simulates honey, and it is used to help the struggling hives or the new hives that don't have any stores, so that they can replenish their stores and start the new colony. And lastly, we have emergency feeding. Now when I say emergency feeding, it doesn't mean that when the bees are out of stores and then you give them the food. It doesn't work like that. Usually emergency feeding consists of feeding in candy, which you put in the feeder, so that the bees during the winter, if they are completely out of stores, they climb into the feeder and they stay on that candy and feed on it while you rescue them. It is a completely extreme measure and I don't recommend it, but you should just put it there as a precaution so that your hive doesn't die. Alright, now that we talked about the 3 types of feeding, theoretically, I'm gonna show you practically how to mix the syrup and how to put it in the container and give it to the bees. Alright, so to make a sugar syrup, you need simple things. You need one of these utensils, or you can use any utensil you want. You'll need a scale so that you know how much sugar you put in. Of course, you need sugar and water, and like this cup that is used to measure how much liquid is there. Alright, so you start by putting a ratio of 1-to-1. So for me, I need 2 kilograms, so that would mean I would add 2 liters of water. So let's go ahead. Almost there, and we're done. It doesn't have to be accurate. Just
Put it there. And then you add water. To measure water, you measure it by this cup. So you put it like this. That's 1 liter down. Once you go. Two liters. Put it like this. Grab one of these and mix it slowly until the sugar is completely gone. Make sure you mix in one direction so that the sugar molds quickly. The bees like their food kind of warm. Most of the times if they give them the food and it's a little bit cold, they get diarrhea. And so I would advise that you warm anything you give them. Alright, I think that's enough. So you pull this out and then you grab one of these. Start putting the syrup in them. Let me grab a hose. So basically this is what you do. Next the bottle. Make sure you pick up the hose so that it flows quickly. And go like this. By the way, you should always give your bees water from the source, not tap water, okay? Because it may cause them to be sick. Alright, let's close this up. Let's go to our hives. Alright, well we can see already that this one has smelled the sugar. He's trying to apparently sting the containers. So when you feed, you want to start with the strongest hive. And you ask me, Wahab, how do I know which one is the strongest hives? I say the hive that has the most traffic is the strongest hive. This one is strong. That one is also strong. This one is just a little bit weak. And this one is the weakest. Move the stone. When you feed your bees, you actually need little to no protection because you're not actually opening the hive, you're just opening the feeder. So there are a lot of ways to feed your bees, but I think by far this is the best one. It's called the open heart feeding, and it's like a plastic container with mesh in it so that the bees don't drown in the sugar. This allows the bees to drink the sugar syrup quickly, and so that it doesn't get fermented. And so this is like the best way to feed your bees, in my opinion. Mix it up a little bit so that the sugar is completely mixed, and then we pour it. Be careful not to spill the liquid because that will cause other bees from other hives to steal from this hive. That is not good. Alright, this one is done. Let's close it up. And I am pulling the roof to the back so that they have ventilation, because I found a lot of condensation in this hive. Next hive is this one. As you can see, there's a lot of traffic. This particular species of bees that I have, they kind of have like anger management issues. They get angry quickly, but that's a good thing because when predators come along, they are not so nice to them all. This one looks good. Has a little bit of condensation, but you know, not a big deal. You can see this is a predator. They killed it and now they're trying to get it out, but there's like a mesh here. It's only used for ventilation, so you know, angry bees. Usually when I have like just a little bit syrup left, I give it to the nucleus hives, which are these. And I will explain what a nucleus hive is later. But for right now, let me show you what that looks like. So these boxes are called nucleus hives. and they also call them queen castles. They can host up to 4 queens. They are basically support colonies for the bigger hives. So it has 4 chambers. And let's say that your queen died. So instead of waiting 40 days for a new queen to be born, you just give them a queen from one of these. And then you unite the 2 hives, and so that you have 3 queens. 1, 2, and a bigger hive.
Alright, that marks the end of episode 2 of Beekeeping series. Thank you so much for watching. Before I go, I would let you know on a couple of tips. So, it's preferable to feed the bees at the end of the day so that bees don't steal from other bees. But if you see robbery, if you see bees fighting at the entrance of the hive, that means that a hive that is stealing from another hive, you just lower the entrance and spray the entrance with water and salt. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will try to answer each and every one of them. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get the next episode, and I will see you in the next video.